Well, I mean, I think first of all, I'm really grateful for Get Berkshire Active and the Berkshire Virtual School Games in kind of teaming up with us on this. And what I'd like to see is the scheme being able to go on to touch and to help more children and more families. I think it's been the biggest thing for me has been seeing the impact on children of the lockdown, of the pandemic in general, and I think that's not in any way diminishing the impact that it's had on other people. I mean, I think elderly people on their own, people whose jobs have really been put at risk, are obviously, and people who've lost family members are obviously suffering hugely as well. But I think for children, it was a huge change at a vital part in their development where the kind of normal social interactions, the physical activity, learning how physical activity helps you mentally and psychologically and helps you perform better at school, learning to work as a team. All of those things are vital in a child's development. And if they miss out on that for essentially a year and possibly going on longer than that now, I think that has a huge impact on them. And it's a lot harder for children to express that as well and to say, okay, hey, I'm struggling here, and to even know or recognize that they are. And so I think that's where the kind of thinking on this came. What can we do? Because even just looking at my own kids, the amount of physical activity that suddenly was cut from a school day because they weren't walking to school, they weren't walking between lessons, they weren't able to run around as much at break times, they didn't have PE at school, then organized sport outside of school went. And so then it's only what we can do as a family. And yeah, my kids are very lucky and we are active as a family. So they haven't noticed it so much, but they still don't have that fun part, that interaction part that they were getting with their friends before. And so that's what we were trying to think up here, is really, I guess, throw the ball out to the kids and get as creative as you can with this challenge over half term. We'd love you to do a lot more than 2 hours 15. 2 hours 15 is the minimum, but it puts in a little bit of math as well and gets them to be creative. So literally snowball fights count, building a snowman counts, sledging counts because you've got to run back up the hill with your sledge afterwards, TikTok dances, everything like that counts. It's just moving and making physical activity fun, and through that roping in parents as well, because I think parents feel it too. We're suddenly also not walking or biking to work, we're working from home, and just that part of the activity, even just walking to school with the kids, is gone. So out of our day too, there are a lot of steps missing that you just kind of took for granted before. You didn't think they were physical activity, it was just an active day. And I think this is trying to build on that and also increase activity levels in general. One of the things that I love the most, to be honest, is to just go for a run, go for a bike ride, just do something with my kids where they're not on screens, I'm not competing for their attention. And I can see that they're getting the same benefits and the same joy back from that exercise that I know I'm getting. And I think it's a great way to bring families together.
Paula started by thanking Get Berkshire Active and the Berkshire School Games Network. I think we absolutely want to reciprocate those thanks, because the inspiration that she's brought, the School Games Network has been brilliant in terms of the virtual activities that they've run through the whole of the lockdown period and the interim period. But the engagement that we've seen just over the last 2 days since the announcement of the 215 challenge and with Paula's involvement has been unbelievable, the excitement that it's caused. So that's fantastic. Yes, really, what attracted me was exactly what Paula was explaining. This is about bringing families and friends together to enjoy physical activity together. That was why we called our event at Park House the Family Fun Run and Fun Day. It was about how would you adapt the old style fete to a context where I think we are more aware of the importance of physical activity and exercising together. Sadly, that has been obviously interrupted, but it doesn't mean that it can stop. You've just got to be agile about how you do it and creative about how you do it. And what really excited me was that, and it was almost, I guess, a year ago that Paula and I very briefly started to discuss how the families on track idea might come into a school environment, because after all, schools are a great place for bringing families together as a community. We do that all of the time. Logically, then if you can bring groups of schools together, you can really add additional momentum to what's going on.
What are you planning with your families, both of you? What give everyone that's listening and some inspiration on some different ideas?
Well, our half term, my kids are still in school because our half term starts the week after here. But we still do, because athletics has only just been able to restart as an out of school sporting activity, and it's limited to an hour. I had started taking my son and two of his friends, and we just go for a run in the forest. We go for one at the weekend and one on a Wednesday. And it's just, there's different exercise stations dotted out. So we started out and we would just jog in between stations and they would do the exercise stations. But now they've progressed so long and so well that they're actually running probably 5-6K. And then we do some shuttle runs and we do some jumps. And I mean, they love exploring. So I had to buy myself and get another pair of trail shoes because I couldn't keep up with them down the hills, because they just take off and they're jumping over the rocks but that kind of joy of exploring I think is great, and it's safe too, because we don't see another person while we're out because we're not even on the paths. So that's definitely going to be counting towards R1.
I joined a Reading Athletic Club back in 1977. It's always been my passion and joy. So I will take that opportunity, I think, to focus there as well. Also, perhaps the physical act of removing my cat yet again from yet another Zoom session, if that counts as physical activity, but the number of times it tries to bomb these things. But I think, also there's the opportunity to, just do some, simple things like, walking together and having the opportunity for a conversation with that as well, which, when you are stuck on the screen. So I think we'll be involved in, some pretty basic things together, but that's the beauty of it. There's the three of us, and we'll take that opportunity as, mum, dad and son, to just have some of that quality time together as well, doing something that's so enjoyable.